when you run at the levels that we were running at, and when you were running at, and you know, it's deployment, it's back home, it's deployment, it's back home, it's deployment, it's back home. Yeah. It takes a toll, right? It takes a toll on your family, your life, just everything. And one of the interesting things I think about is we were able to sustain, and you specifically were able to sustain that op tempo or operational tempo for 20 plus years in combat. How does teams at that level sustain that? I mean, are you and continuously improving? I mean, through after action reports or mastering the fundamentals, or you know, I mean, the basics always win. But you know, over that time period of 20 years plus of war, where it was kinetic for all of it, how do you sustain that drive?
I don't know that there's an answer because I don't think we do it well. Everyone talks about balance. It's a myth. It's a myth. Every person in here is a high-performing leader, driving some organization out there. I've heard a few people ask questions and imply that, man, I'm putting in some hours. So balance is this myth. It's this idea that we can somehow split our differences and maintain healthy family life and pursue these ridiculous aspirations. I think of it more like there's a water dam and there's a bunch of holes in it, and I got 10 fingers. But there's like 15 or 16 holes. And so it's a matter of managing risk, I think, as an individual. When you're trying to sustain a sprint pace for a marathon distance, where can I accept the risk right now? Maybe my family right now. You got to take a back seat. I'm on a deployment. There's not much I can do for my family while I'm on deployment. I'm accepting risk there. I'm withdrawing money from the bank with my family while I'm on deployment. Okay, then I come home. Well, now I need to focus some effort there and accept some risk somewhere else. Maybe I take my eye off a ball. When you're spinning too many plates, you just have to accept that some are going to fall and break. We can't do everything perfectly. To pretend that we can means we're going to burn ourselves out, drive our families to the ground, and probably end up getting fired in the process because we've just convinced ourselves we're doing it all well, and we're lying to ourselves. So I think it's a matter of risk management. It really is, and figuring out when I need to take a career hit for the sake of my family because I've pushed them to the brink, and I did that. So I don't have the answers in that I didn't do it all right. I made a ton of mistakes, almost burned my family to the ground through those development group years. In a 3-year period, I was home less than 10 months in total. And during that time period, we had the greatest loss of life in Special Operations history in our entire history. So a lot of complex emotions, complex relational things, and I almost burned my family to the ground in doing that. But then when I realized what I was doing, I woke up one morning and I went to my boss's office and said, I'm done. I was on track. They had me on track to continue on in leadership there. Everything was set. Brad, you're the guy. Everything's going great. We want you to stay here and continue on. And I knocked on his door and said, hey, sir, you're not going to like this conversation. You got a minute? Yeah, I guess so. Close the door. I'm done. I'm out. He said, why? I said, because I no longer like who I see in the mirror every morning. And when I fast forward to my deathbed in my mind, and I think about what I will be thinking about in that time period, I can't imagine thinking, I wish I had done one more deployment with the boys. I wish I had aspired to one more leadership role and gotten one more accolade, one more award, one more big op, one more mission, right? I can't imagine looking back and thinking, I wish I'd had one more tickle fight with my kids. Wish I hadn't ostracized my wife. Wish I had one more date night. Wish I had one more Christmas home. And thank God I had the foresight in that moment because I was close to imploding, I think, as a human being, as a man, as a husband, as a father, for sure. And I was certainly failing there while I was succeeding at work. And so I recognized that, and we took career risk at that point. I said, I'm coming offline. I'm leaving the Navy. Now, they kept me in, but they sent me to shore duty back at BUD/S, which at the time people viewed that as a career killer. So it was exceptional career risk, but I had to if I wanted to be the guy on my deathbed saying the things that I want to say and not having the regrets that I could see in front of me if I stayed on that path.
You know, it's so fascinating because everybody in this room that's a high performer has had to make decisions like, is it a season of family? Is it a season of work? Is it a season, are there no seasons at all and we're just grinding, whatever it may be, right? And that's definitely a big piece to it. And I also think that everybody who's been in the position where you're in the seat and you're having to make these decisions, it wanes on you. It's very complicated, it's very challenging. The stress of just day-to-day decisions, you know, turns you into a person that you may not love.